My name is Jonah Shea. I'm the founder and executive director of Shea's Youth Basketball Association. In the next few minutes, I'm going to be covering a little bit about myself, what landed me in the wheelchair, how I came up with the idea, and about the program itself. I grew up local Cape Codder, grew up in Dennis, went to middle school at Nathaniel H. Wixon Middle School before moving on to Dennis Yarmouth Regional High School, graduating in 1999. Along with playing sports and hanging with friends after school, spending time at the beach and in the ocean was always a favorite pastime of mine. This was actually the last day I was at the beach, that slide right there, because unfortunately that pastime, along with many others, would end abruptly on July 14th, 2007, when I took a dive into the shallow waters at Crow's Pasture and hit the front of my head, broke my neck, leaving me quadriplegic, paralyzed basically from up here on my chest down. I went from that beach to Cape Cod Hospital, where I was immediately air flighted to Boston Medical Center. I spent the next 3 months there undergoing surgeries, intense physical rehabilitation, and just trying to find a way to get back to some normalcy in my life. When I got back home from the hospital, it became a little more difficult. You have to see all the photos of who you were, all your old sports equipment that you can't use. And you know, it was a very difficult time for me. I spent about 6 months, the majority of 6 months, staring at a wall, wondering, you know, was my life going to be over? Why did this happen to me? You know, a lot of different thoughts like that. I couldn't envision myself having a job again. I couldn't envision having a girlfriend or envision much outside of laying in a bed and have people take care of me. But a little bit before a year after my accident, I was introduced to a program, a spinal cord rehabilitation camp in Newport, Rhode Island. It was actually called Shake a Leg, which I guess is a play on words, because it was for paralysis victims, and we weren't shaking much outside of a muscle spasm or maybe a wiggle here or there. But anyways, at this camp we had, we had a speech therapist, we had physical and occupational therapists, and although they taught us some stuff, some tools to move forward with, it was really the other people in the wheelchairs that resonated strongly with me. Watching them get up and do it every day and live life really motivated me, to get up and do the same. So another major health scare happened a few years later in 2011. I contracted a severe case of pneumonia and was hospitalized for 5 days on IV antibiotics. And during that time, I really questioned, was I going to make it out of this? This happened multiple times during those 5 days, and I made a promise to myself that if I do, I'm going to use whatever I can use to help uplift other people and, try to give them strength the same way the other wheelchair users had given me strength back at the camp I attended in 2008. But due to a previous love for the game of basketball, both playing as a kid, I was trying to figure out a way of how I could help the community in a way I would enjoy it. And due to a previous love of the game as a kid and coaching as an adult, before I got the pneumonia in 2008, 9, and 10, I coached in the Dennis Yarmouth Recreation Basketball League. And I had a lot of stuff going on during that time in my life. Every time I left a practice, it was like all was good. I mean, the first year I started, it was 3rd and 4th grade girls. And it was mostly recess, and I had more fun doing that than anything. So I knew I was on the right direction there. But yeah, so I decided to open up Shea's Youth Basketball Association in hopes that we could teach life lessons through the game of basketball. I felt that my wheelchair and experience with being disabled could also motivate others, just as the other wheelchair users had motivated me. Shea's Youth Basketball Association is a youth development program that offers free basketball leagues, tutoring services, and community outreach projects in an attempt to build camaraderie, responsibility, teamwork, sacrifice, and respect for others. All right, Shea's is open to players from all over Cape Cod, regardless of skill level. Our winter program serves boys ages 12 to 15, and our summer program serves boys and girls ages 11 to 16. We enroll the majority of our players on a first-come, first-served basis, with some spots hand-selected through the Hyannis Rec Center, the Therapeutic Mentor Network of Cape Cod, or of Hyannis, and other youth groups and local references that can identify kids that may be at risk and that could benefit the most from our program. That being said, over 80% of our players are from the Dennis, Yarmouth, and Barnstable school districts. We specifically chose to offer the program at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center for multiple reasons. Excuse me. But mostly due to the fact it's a mid-Cape location, and even more specifically due to the neighborhoods that surround that facility that could really use, some assistance. Many of our players reside in those neighborhoods and walk to and from their games and practices all winter long. So it really gives those kids an opportunity that wouldn't have one. I mean, a lot of their parents don't have cars. A lot of their parents that might have cars, I've never met them in 3 or 4 years, and these kids are walking right across the street. Okay, so the need is definitely there for them, and you can tell because they'll sit there and hang out almost the whole day, Saturdays and Sundays during our winter program, just to get out. And a lot of it's because that facility, again, offers the amenities to keep them there. There's a snack bar, there's a recreation room, with the ping pong, pool tables and such. So you can get them in there for the majority of Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 8:30 p.m. and which reaches one of our major goals of keeping them in structured activities and around a positive environment during the most problematic days of the week. Every player that plays with us is given a free membership year-round to enjoy the basketball, the rec room, and the amenities of the facility long after our program is over. So they can still have something to be a part of right in the middle of Hyannis. Shea's Youth Basketball Association is about much more than just basketball, than offering free basketball leagues. One of our main objectives is to foster a healthy community for both the participants of the program and also the volunteers involved. And to help build this community and teach life lessons, we have 3 additional components to our winter basketball program. The first is the Shea's YBA Lend a Hand program, which consists of community outreach projects that primarily take place prior to the beginning of the winter basketball season. Whether we are assisting low-income, disabled, veterans, or elderlies with home projects, collaborating with other local nonprofits, or assisting with town projects, all of our players are required to lend a hand at one of our community service endeavors prior to the end of the winter basketball season. The second component is the Beyond Basketball Initiation Event, which utilizes guest speakers and educational videos to share personal stories on topics such as crime and drug awareness, anti-bullying, do's and don'ts of social media, which they could use a lot more training on that still, I'll tell you that one. But we try to get them, give them guidance on different things that may be prevalent in their life at that time. And the third component is our free tutoring services that we have from the beginning of our basketball program in the end of November through the end of our program about the second week in March. And these are carried out by current and former teachers, all voluntary, along with business professionals and scholars of the community. After kids age out, they are given the opportunity to coach or assist with coaching. We try to keep them involved for as long as possible. And they're also welcome to help out with any other parts of the organization as well. After our first summer program started with 5 players and ended with 26 in 2012, we now have summer and winter programs exceeding 100 players and expect these numbers to grow once we have the finances and the staff in place to do so. We are always looking for additional sponsors and volunteers, so if any of you are interested in getting involved, please let me know. There are also still a few spots available in the Winter League for boys ages 12 to 15. I know a couple of the guys in here have a son that plays in my league, but there are still a few spots open, so if you have a son that may be interested in playing. And again, like I said before, the summer program is 11 to 16, boys and girls, so you want to keep that in mind for the future as well. But as it always does, it ultimately comes down to money, and it's the support from local businesses, foundations, and townspeople, contributions like yours, that make us able to offer this program and give these kids something to look forward to and something to be a part of. So, bottom line is, the more you guys pay, the more they can play. All right? Thank you for your time. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.